The unlikely trio stumbled out of the labyrinth, their breaths ragged, their eyes wide with wonder and exhaustion. The twisting passages had released their grip, and now they stood in a moonlit clearing, surrounded by ancient trees. Nightfall descended, cloaking the forest in shadows. Matt, carefree as ever, scanned the horizon for signs of pursuit. Paul, the stargazer, squinted at the constellations, as if seeking answers written in the stars. And Ben, the pragmatic survivor, checked his compass, ensuring they were far from the labyrinth's grasp. Paul, with a mischievous glint in his eye, stood up from the campfire circle. His lanky frame seemed an unlikely canvas for what was about to unfold. The unlikely trio exchanged puzzled looks, wondering what Paul had up his sleeve. He cleared his throat, channeling his inner Arnold Schwarzenegger. His accent wavered between Austrian and comically exaggerated. "Listen, my friends," Paul declared, flexing non-existent biceps. "I am not just Paul, I am the Terminator. Hasta la vista, baby." His impression was a curious blend of reverence and absurdity. Matt snorted, and even Dave cracked a smile. Ben raised an eyebrow, unimpressed, but Paul was committed, striding around the campfire, mimicking Arnold's iconic walk. "Get to the chopper!" Paul bellowed, pointing dramatically at an imaginary helicopter. "We must defeat the evil entity in the labyrinth. It's not a tumor." He paused, realizing he'd mixed up movie references. "Wait, wrong movie, but you get the idea." Dave leaned back, shaking with silent laughter. "Paul," he said, "you're a true original." Paul struck a final pose, arms outstretched. "I'll be back," he declared, his voice cracking. Then with a wink he resumed his seat. The campfire crackled and the unlikely trio erupted into laughter. And so in that moonlit clearing, Paul, the unlikely Arnold impersonator, became a legend alongside pixel sorcerers, dancing guardians and forgotten tales. Their laughter echoed through the forest, a counter-melody to the darkness.
The unlikely trio gathered fallen branches and dry leaves, their hands working in harmony. Ben, the perpetually disheartened office worker, sighed as he snapped twigs, the weight of spreadsheets and deadlines still clinging to his shoulders. Matt, the sun-kissed hero, grinned as he stacked logs, his skin bronzed from countless adventures under open skies. And Paul, the 80s enthusiast, hummed the Ghostbusters theme, his lunchbox emblazoned with the iconic logo, sitting beside him like a relic from another era. Dave, the guardian of lost games, watched over them. His spectral form flickered, memories of forgotten consoles and pixelated quests swirling around him. He'd been trapped in the labyrinth for centuries, his purpose clear: safeguard the games that slipped through the cracks of reality. His translucent fingers traced the air, conjuring sparks that danced above the fire pit. As the flames licked the wood, Ben slumped on a moss-covered log. "What's the point?" he muttered, staring into the fire. "Life's just a series of corrupted files." Matt plopped down next to him, his eyes alight with determination. "Nah, mate," he said, clapping Ben's shoulder. "Life's an open-world game. You choose your quests, level up and sometimes get stuck in a damn tutorial," Ben interrupted, his voice bitter. Paul chimed in, pulling out a Rubik's Cube from his backpack. "Remember when games were simpler? No patches, no microtransactions, just pure joy." Dave nodded, his ethereal form shimmering. "I've seen it all. The rise of arcades, the birth of consoles. But lost games? They're my domain." He glanced at the lunchbox. "What's in there, Paul?" Paul grinned, twisting the cube. "Nostalgia, a portal to the 80s, and maybe a proton pack." The fire crackled, casting shadows on their faces. Ben's eyes flickered, hope stirring. "Maybe," he said, "we're all lost games, waiting for someone to hit continue." Matt tossed another log into the flames. "Or maybe," he said, "we're the DLC, the extra content that makes life worth playing." And so, beneath the moon's watchful gaze, they laughed and shared stories, their own quests, glitches, and hidden Easter eggs. Ben found solace in Matt's optimism. Paul reveled in Dave's spectral wisdom, and Dave? Dave wondered if perhaps he'd finally found his respawn point. As the fire danced, they toasted marshmallows, their laughter echoing through the ancient trees. For in that moonlit clearing, surrounded by unlikely companions, they discovered that even lost games could find new levels, new beginnings. And so the guardian, the hero, the office worker, and the 80s enthusiast sat together, their hearts intertwined like tangled controller cords. Beneath the star-studded sky, they vowed to keep the campfire burning, a beacon for all who stumbled out of life's labyrinths seek.